We are live on Facebook. Thank you for, hey, Kathy. Yeah, great. This is like old home week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are about to go live on Facebook, and we will get started shortly. Okay, terrific. Hey, Kathy. Oop, let me turn off the sound. Yeah, great. This is like old home week. Come on, sound, stop. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are about to go live on Facebook. Yeah, this is, get started shortly. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, technical problems are over. We're on live, both of them. So, okay. So let me give a quick introduction for those that are here. And hey, Gilbert. Hey, Gilbert, do that magic and share it with everybody. We're going to be showing some great designs that Beth's been working with me for years. She's done a lot of stuff on the blog. She's helped me create Craze Face Paint. Beth lives out in Chicago. I took her out to pizza once. And what?
It was good pizza.
It was good pizza. Yeah. Anyway, so we are going to be showing off some cartoon designs, which is Kathy once said it was her bête noire. It was she had trouble with that. So with that, I think here we go.
All righty. Well, we're going to be using Craze.
The Craze Face Paint, exactly.
This is the split palette, which I love. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to have the solid colors, which I've rearranged because I like them this way. So it's a nice thing about these. You pop them out and put them where you want. So we're going to talk about cartoons, I think, in general, and then we're going to do some designs too. I'm going to start with a snake because it's real popular. And I'm going to do a slightly changed snake. This is a little different from the one that I usually do. But that's okay, because with cartoons, you want to be able to change things and make them different. If anybody has any questions, just tell them.
Exactly. Yeah. So anybody has any comments, I'll ask Beth. I'll call them out to her. So if you have any comments on either the webinar or on Facebook Live, that would be awesome.
So the first thing I'm doing is I'm loading my brush, and this is a wide flat brush. Hold it up so you can see it. I'd say it's probably a 3/4, but you could use a 1 inch too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start on the cheek. And normally when I do a snake, I'm going to actually cover this with a sheet just so you can see where I'm going to be doing. This is my normal snake. Normally I make like a large teardrop and then a smaller teardrop, and I go up from that. So that's the normal snake that I do when I'm doing a cartoon snake. And if I want to, I may come down on this side with a tail. So it goes up into the hairline. Go over it again if I want to. A little bit darker. So this is my basic shape for a cartoon snake. The one we're doing today is going to be very similar. We're still going to have the body going up and the tail coming down, but we're going to change the mouth and make the expression a little bit different. I'm going to load my brush again. And this time, instead of making the one large teardrop, I'm actually going to make 2 smaller ones. I'm going to flip my brush over and make one up. That's going to be the top of the mouth. And with a child's face, you may want to bring that center and squeeze it in a little bit on the sides. So, and then on the bottom, I'm going to also make 2 smaller teardrops. Like this. So far, it's not scary if you're scared of cartoons. Cartoons aren't scary. I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to go up and make the body coming up. And you can either leave it that way. If I was in a hurry, I would leave it that way. Or you could flip the brush and make it a little wider if you've got room. And you can make it dark on both sides, the light in the center. And that will give it the illusion of being not a flat snake, but so that it curves around on the sides. I'm gonna do my snake on this side. Hopefully you guys are having a chance to follow along too.
Oh yeah, they want to get zoomed in. I'm zooming in.
What's that?
I'm gonna. There was a request to zoom in on the main image, which I've just done.
Okay. So now we've done our split cake part, and I'm going to load I think this is a number 4 low Cornell with white. And it's one of the nice things about the Craze split cake palette, the small splits, is that you have the white and the black right there. So, I mean, if you were making an emergency palette and carrying it with you just in case, that would be a great one to have.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I'm going to do.
Barbara says hi, by the way.
Hi. Is it Barb Brayton?
Yep.
Hey, Barb. How's Wisconsin? You guys got a lot of rain too. I know, my mom told me on the phone. So what I've done is I put teeth in for the snake. Now, normally you put the fangs in. This is a little bit different. And then above that, I'm going to make 2 eyes. And you can make your eyes different shapes. You know, every cartoonist does them a little differently. I make mine a little bit.
Marina's here. Dear God. It is Old Home Week. Michelle asked, how do I fix a brush, or do I just get a new one?
How do you fix a brush? I try not to put them in a position where they need to be fixed, but if something happens to them, what I've done is dip them in boiling water for a few seconds till they start to splay, and then I pull them out, and then I use Masters, which is a brush cleaner. See that? Masters. And I load it up with that and shape it and let it dry. And that has helped brushes come back from certain death. If I just can't repair them at all, then I just, you know, toss them or save them for something else that I might use them for. But it's risky, but if it's either, you know, throw it out or try to fix it, it's worth it to try to fix it. Let's see, I think I will use this one. Now I've got, I think this is a number 2, could be a number 3, but it's a low Cornell. And I'm going to load it with some red. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to load it with black. Skip that. I'm going to load it with black.
Marina says she also puts a bit of olive oil in boiling water.
Probably condition them a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Not.
Okay.
Masters is a conditioner. So when I clean my brushes at the end of an event, I usually wash them really well. I use brush soap while I'm doing it. I use the, where is it? I use Brush Bath. When I'm at an event, I have 3 wells, one with soap, one for rinse, and one for clear. But when I get home, I use brush cleaner at Masters because you can leave it on the brush and it conditions them. So that's another way to keep them in good condition. So I'm loading with black. And the next thing I'm going to do is my outlines. And I'm going to do the teeth, I think, first. Draw a straight line across and then. And I'm going to outline on the face. Press down a little bit. And as far as brush technique, if you're having trouble with your lines, make sure you're keeping your brush perpendicular to your surface as much as you can. And we're going to go up to his chin. Part a little bit there. And I'm not going to do the eyes. Margie Cantor told me once, she's like, don't do the eyes until you're all done because that's like the finishing touch. So I thought that's really good advice. So I don't do the eyes till I'm done. I'm going to press down so I get a little thicker line and then pull up so I can get a thinner line. Adds a little more interest to the line than just a straight line. Thin, thick, and then thin. I'm going to do the same thing on the tail. Thin and go up. I did this so much better when I was practicing. I'm running out of paint here. I know.
Don't worry about it.
Different brush, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's always easier on skin anyway. So, and then I'm going to come down.
Is it really easier on skin? Wow, yeah, I didn't realize that.
I think I like the way it comes on skin. Although this, These boards are great. I really like them. They're fun. I know we're going to carry them too. So.
Yep.
They're just cute. What I love about them is that they are opaque, because with my other ones, I also have Sally Ann Lynch, but they're clear. So I have to put white paper behind them or something behind them, or they're see-through. But these are beautiful. They're fun. Almost as much fun as a regular kid. So, all right. So I'm not going to do, normally I would think about how I was going through design. I'd probably do the tongue on the snake last, but I'm going to do it now so I can save the eyes until the end. And this is a startled snake. This is the snake that I found when I was on a walk the other night, because I nudged it with my toe. I didn't like it.
So Kathy says it's you're doing great. It's not easy to paint and film at the same time.
Yeah.
And Asma says, for me, it's easy to paint practice boards. Okay.
Oh, well, I almost never use practice boards. I usually use it on myself. I just got this one. So it's really fun. I like it. So you don't really have to outline the eyes, but I'm going to do it this time. Now, when you're thinking about expressions in cartoons, I have some resources that I use. Well, everybody uses the internet. So I've actually taken some shots from the internet. Probably can't see them very well.
Hang on, let me change the view.
Here,
1 second.
So everybody can see. These are all shots. These are all images that I just took off the internet of cartoon faces. Something else that I use is a book by Christopher Hart, which is right here. I've had this for years and years and years, but there are 2 pages that have like 30 expressions on them. So just run it under there so you can see what it looks like. All different expressions. So what's great is if you're thinking, oh man, how do you make a surprised look, or how do you make an angry look, or a really, really mad look, or a flirty look, or whatever. Well, they're all there. So I use
Michelle asks, what is a good brush oil or acrylic? I'm not sure what that means exactly.
Brush oil or acrylic. What do you mean by a brush oil?
Not sure.
Because for face painting, I don't use acrylics. When I'm using acrylic, I use masters for cleaning. And again, it's a conditioner. You can use it for oil, watercolor, acrylic. I mean, it works for any kind, or like face paint. It'll take face paint out. So I use it for all of those things. I also paint with acrylics, sometimes gouache. So not so often with watercolor. So now my snake is basically done. There are a few things I could do to make him a little more interesting. And, that's why the beauty of word boards when you're doing cartoons too, is that you don't have to have a specific design with every little thing in it, because you're going to find these children that get down and they're like, you missed this one thing on my design. And I'm like,
oh, shoot. What she means is oil brush or acrylic brush.
Oh, what kind of brushes am I using?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. These are just low Cornell brushes. So I like them really well for face painting. I don't know, what the brushes that I have for watercolor are like Winsor Newton, and they're like $40 a brush. I wouldn't recommend those for pretty much anything else.
So you basically use makeup brushes?
No, these are they're low Cornell. I mean, they're what we have. I also have the pink brushes, the Paint Pal brushes.
Right.
These are actually from Michaels. They're flat brushes.
Hang on, let me switch views.
It's from way back when I started, and they're still working. I like this one, Paradise. This is Paradise Makeup AQ. This is a 1-inch. If you want me to bring it under here.
Oh no, I got it. I got you on both screens now.
These are awesome. This would be considered a bright. It's a flat brush, but it's got short bristles, so you got a lot of control. So I actually really like these brushes. This is the Paradise 1-inch. Love that one. It's a good one.
Okay. So
when my other ones wear out, I'll probably replace it with those. So, but I use low Cornell a lot too. For the rounds, it's almost all low Cornell or Mark Reed.
Yeah.
Mark Reed #4, low Cornell #4. So at this point, we could do a couple different things. We could grab a stencil and put a snake, more of a snake skin on there. We could also grab see, something like, you know, Mark Reed, number 4, or a little Cornell, number 4. For the colors, for some reason, I use Mark Reed's. Don't know why, just do. And I'm going to mix a little red and orange and add.
Oh, they're synthetic brushes. That's right, Tyler.
Ah, there you go.
Thank you.
And the last thing I would do is I would take a small, actually, if you got a real steady hand, you could use a number 4 or you could use a number 2, low Cornell with a little bit of white on it and do some highlights. And remember, highlights are where the light's hitting. So they're usually going to go on the top of a design. Might run some along here on the snake. Do it on the tail. And
Okay.
you could actually add a little bit on the tongue if you wanted to, just on the top of the tongue. There you go.
There
So
you go.
there's our startled snake. He's like, ah. That's the one that I saw on the road when we were walking.
He's a little confused. A little confused as a snake.
He was just a grass snake, but he really didn't like being bothered. So
one thing while I presume, are we done with the snake?
we're done with the snake. So everybody
Okay.
take a screenshot if you want. And then I'm going to wipe him off. Say goodbye to the snake.
Say goodbye, snake. That was a very happy snake. One thing we're starting up at FacePaintcom is, and it's appropriate that Beth is here for all this, is we started a private Facebook group, which is going to be how to learn how to face paint with videos and content from our various blog posts and stuff that Beth's done. And so here's a link if you want to join the group, and on Facebook and on, where is the window? And right here. If you guys want to join, please go there. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be releasing content on how to learn how to face paint. And it is free. I wanted to emphasize the free. Oh, Asma, can you see the video in the future? You absolutely can. We are going to publish this on Facebook Live, so it'll be available on our Facebook page.
So our next design, I'm going to show you what it looks like because I actually have a clear sheet. Actually did it on a different, I did it on a Sally and Lynch. We're slightly smaller. So you can see this is what we're going to be doing, a puppy dog. So I like animals, so this will be a fun one. And you can add the tail if you want on that side. But to do this, you can choose either one of these. They're filberts, either got, it looks like about 1/2 inch and then a slightly smaller one. But I'm going to use one of these, most likely, probably, maybe I'll use the smaller one. And then I'm going to be using, as far as paint, I'm going to be using our split puppy. So if that, I don't know if that's still its name, was the working name for a while. So, but that's great for doing puppies. Did some of those this weekend. So this particular design, now one thing you want to think about with cartoons is placement. Before we had the snake, it was great because you can put it all over the face. You know, it comes down on one side, you've got your face here on the cheek. It's usually a good place. You don't have to worry about whether a child has no forehead with their hair. It's always challenging. And then you can put the tail on the other side, but you don't have to have it if you don't want to. In this design, we're going to do it over the eye. I think I may actually change to this one. So, because then we have a little bit more of a 3/4 view, and we'll do it over on this side. Okay. But placement for a cartoon, it can be cheek art. It can be a mask where it's centered over. It can be just above one eye. It could be over one eye where you use the person's eye as the eye of the design. You could do, like Margie Cantor came up with the nose designs. So if you've got a good candidate for that, I practice a lot on my husband. He's not a good candidate for nose designs. He's got a very angular nose. It doesn't work well for that. But children often don't have such a defined bridge of their nose. So, you know, it might work well for them. You could do a mouth design where the cartoon's on the mouth. Something Annabelle Hujvin has been doing lately are the mouth masks. We're going to do a cartoon in 2 ways. We're going to do, I think I have it down as a mask, and then also as So I'm going to do a mask design with a robot, and then I thought it'd be fun to try her style with that, where the mouth opens and the eyes are inside it. You can do like the snake, the hairline drop down. So there are a lot of ways you can do it. So think about the child's face and which way you think would be best to do a design. So we're going to start with loaded my brush from Puppy here, and I'm going to do spin the brush over the eye and underneath. I'm going to fill in the center because it's lighter there. So you can make the edge a little more jagged. There. So that's the muzzle area of the dog. And above that, put my brush again. I'm going to do some hair in the middle. And some puppy dog ears. You can make them as long, small as you want them to be. And I'll make some puppy paws. Actually, maybe just 3 would be better. Yeah.
And what's different with cartoons versus just normal face painting designs from your perspective?
I think only that they have eyes and faces, you know. Yeah, that's, to me, that's the only difference. I don't see them as very different. No matter what I'm doing, I just think in terms of shape, color, light versus dark. It doesn't, I don't find cartoons that bad because it's just shapes,
Right.
and colors. So we're going to put the eyes in. Again, I like to use more of a teardrop shape for my eyes. But you can, you know, another thing you can think about with animals is, and I do this with cats because I think of Bill the cat. I don't know if anybody remembers that cartoon, Bill the cat, where he always had one small eye and one really big eye. It's like, so if you want to make something look kind of crazy, you can change the eye sizes. That's fun. All right, for this one, oh, needs a tongue. I'm gonna get some red, and I'm going to use a mark reed number 4. And we'll put the tongue in right about here. And let me go back to my small brush. The thing with practice boards is you really have to let them dry. If you're in a place where there's humid temperatures, it's probably going to have to wait a while. So I'm going to do the nose. I like to make a big nose on my animals. There's his nose.
Worked for Snoopy.
It works for Snoopy. That's true. That was like my favorite cartoon. I loved cartoons when I was a kid.
That makes sense.
I'm going to change this since it's a practice board and I can. I'm just going to move that a little bit. Fill it in with a little bit of brown. There we go. I'm going to tweak it. All right. So next I'm going to load my small brush, my small number 2, and I'm going to start doing the outlines. And think about line quality. I notice, you know, artists that really practice cartoons a lot, they have beautiful line quality. Margie Cantor has beautiful line quality in her cartoons, but it's because she practices so much. And something else, I've got this list of things I want to talk about. Practicing is really important because, first of all, how you practice matters. And the other thing that matters is how much you practice. The more time you put in, the better you're going to get. But when you're practicing, you need to use really good techniques. Otherwise, you're just going to be repeating the same thing over and over. And so you want the thick to thin. With dogs, it's fun sometimes to make one ear sticking up more than the other and one ear down like it's listening. My ears. This one's got big floppy ears, almost like bunny ears on this one. So,
what brush are you using?
this is the number 2 low Cornell brush.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a little Smile on this side. Smile on this side. Outline the tongue. Dots. There we go. And then puppy paws are not too bad. And let's see. And we could do the eyes, or we could do the highlights. I'll do the highlights and save the eyes for the end. You can add, you know, in order to increase the perceived value of the design, add stencils around it. You know, sometimes people think, oh, stencils are cheating. Stencils are not cheating. I don't know why people think stencils are cheating. Stencils are...
They're not cheating.
No, they're not. I usually use them mostly for texture or for speed.
Right.
I mean, they're a tool, just like anything else that you use. And they're not cheating. They're going to make it look better and make it more fun. That's what we're trying to do, is make it fun.
Couple comments. Marina says, I love cartoon designs for smaller kids, and this kind of puppy is great because smaller kids want to see the real whole puppy. They love it more than the whole face designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you're right. Little kids like cartoons. They like the comical look. So go around the eyes.
And Gilbert points out that it's that's an LC 795 series.
Wow.
Gilbert's
Yeah,
no stranger to that one, I tell you.
Mine are so worn off. I have to find a newer one to find what they actually are. Oh, here it is.
And Barbara asked, Barbara asked, Louise asked, very vibrant paint, which brand are you using? Go ahead.
I'm using Craze FX.
Yeah, there we go.
New one, Craze FX.
Should you want a link, I will not be shy. I'll send you to the facepaint.com Craze page. And Barbara says, great job, Beth. She loves your cartoons.
Cartoons are great. When I was a kid, we did not get a paper, like a newspaper. There we go. You can put it. Here we go. This guy's done. So
okay.
You know, if you didn't have a stencil, you could add stars around him.
And Louise, we have a 25% off sale right now. So if you go to facepaint.com and go to the homepage, you'll see the coupon code.
And you could add a tail on the other side if you wanted to. I didn't do that, but with this one, because it's the 3/4 view, but you could add a tail over here, and so that it expands the design. So, you know, what I like about cartoons too is that you've got little kids who are going to be eating cake at a birthday party. That's going to be all right here. Anything you do down here is going to be wiped out. So these are great because they're above the eye. They're not on top of the eyelids. So if they're a little flinchy, they're usually a little better about something on their forehead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good design choice for that. But if you have a child that just their hair is really low, you could do the same thing. You could do it on their cheek. When I do it on their cheek, I do everything the same way I did it here. I'm going to do it super fast. I'll just use this because it's here.
Barbara says she loves the swirly girls. Love them too.
I like cartoons. I'm like, oh, whenever we do cartoons, I like that. So, all right, here is, I'm just going to do a quick body. I'm not going to do all of the stuff on it. Say I wanted to do an ear sticking up, an ear hanging down. So here's another puppy dog shape. If I wanted to do the dog's body and wanted to do cheek art, because I had to do this weekend. If you don't have a lot of space, just make him a short dog. So, feet.
And Sophia asked, she loves Craze. That's fantastic. She were 12 colors. Forgot black though. Oh, that's a mistake. You should always have black. I like the puppy so much. I'm excited to practice it. So she's very excited about your puppy.
Oh yeah, this guy's great.
And Kathy asks, are those the sparkling faces by Svetlana practice board?
Yes, they actually are.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just doing this quick and sloppy, so sorry. Okay, so it didn't even dry yet, so it's all bleeding, but you get the idea. That's what the dog's body would look like if I was doing like a little puppy dog and a cheek art. So, think about placement, think about what the child looks like, what you've got to work with. Big forehead, no forehead, So, alrighty. I'm gonna wipe off the dog. Say goodbye to the dog. Bye.
Say bye, dog.
So.
Okay. Now you can see Beth, not just the dog.
Here I am.
There you are.
Thriving metropolis of Marengo, Illinois, next to Chicago.
Next to Chicago.
Not so far.
Exactly.
Alrighty, so let's see, the next one, I think we'll do the monster. The nice thing about these cartoons, and I know some designs tend to take on the idea of a girl design, boy design, usually in the minds of parents, grandparents, and aunts and uncles. But kids really don't care. So they just like a monster. Or I had one little girl, she's like, I want Spider-Man. Only she couldn't pronounce it. She said, Spider-Man. So we did Spider-Man. But I think cartoons really bridge any gender issues too with parents. So this one is going to be a monster. I like monsters, they're fun. So this one would be like a mask. So if you had, even if you didn't have a lot of forehead to work with, I think it still would work well, most kids. So I'm going to load a flat brush, probably 3/4 inch, give or take.
Barbara says, I love my boards. They clean so easy.
What's that?
Her boards clean easy. Yeah.
Which ones does she have?
I think she has I don't know. She probably has the same kind of board that you're looking at.
This one?
Yeah.
I'd really like to get one of the pregnancy boards, the tummy that she's got. That looks like it'd be fun to try stuff. Well, all right, so I'm loading, and this time I'm using, it doesn't really matter. Actually, can you see it?
Actually, but yep, they can see it.
The splits. All right, so I'm loading from, it doesn't really matter which split you choose, but I'm loading from the one that's green, light blue, blue, and purple. So it's got a little bit of shimmer on it. Okay. But I mean, any of these would make a perfectly good monster. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Depends on what the child wants. They usually decide the color anyway, or based on what they're wearing, maybe. I thought he'd make a good monster. So I'm going to make this monster by just making a half circle, zigzaggy half circle. If you didn't want a furry monster, and then I'm going to continue over the eyebrows. If you didn't want a furry monster, you could always, make them smooth. So I'm going to switch over to a small filbert. We're doing the hands or claws, I guess, because it just works really well that way. So I'll do some little swoopy shapes. And for the center, just use the edge of my brush and fill it in. Normally on a child, I would use a sponge maybe and soften that a little bit. It's a little hard to do on a practice board because it's wet. I don't know how it'll work. Let's try it, see. Oh, actually it did okay, blending it. It worked, okay. So the sponge works, it's great. And I'm gonna do the eyes. This isn't going to have time to dry, really. No. We'll do the ears first.
Okay.
I'm choosing colors. Another thing to think about, I didn't even write this in my notes, but it is something to consider. Color choices. If you're looking for something that's really safe for cartoons, you can use analogous colors. Analogous colors are right next to each other on the color wheel. You might be able to see my color wheel. It's back on the piano because I'm getting ready for my art classes. But analogous colors would be like yellow, orange, red, green, blue, purple. Like that's what we have here. These are analogous colors. So it's a great way of choosing colors that are going to go well together. And then you want to choose complementary colors. Those are across the color wheel from these. So for example, orange is across the wheel. So we're going to make some strange ears. If you combine colors that are complementary, you get brown. You can tell this is browning just a little bit. It's because it doesn't dry entirely, and so when you come over the top of it on a practice board, it picks up some of that color and loses a little of its vibrancy. On a child, you'd want to make sure it dried entirely before you came over it. So let's see if we can make it darker. Okay. Next thing, we're going to use another number 4 round. These are the brushes I use most of the time. A couple sizes of filberts, large pots, number 4s, and number 2s. That's about what I use most. And then
Angelina loves the fact that you're explaining color theory.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. There's nothing fancy about it. I mean, as long as you stick with those, you're safe. So we've got our complementary colors. The blue and orange would be complementary, green and red are complementary, yellow and purple are complementary. So, and this guy, again, I'm going to use my teardrop eyes because I kind of like them. One of my shapes. And at the same time, I try to work my way through designs. I'm going to make his claws at the same time. Just push and pull up there. I'm trying to get my point. And now we're going to give him a nose. I think I'll use maybe yellow for the nose. Really, he's going to have pretty much a rainbow of colors, but the nose works. And the nose is just a teardrop. Just it. And all we have left to do is outline in black and add highlights. And then we're good to go. So I'm going to outline in.
Oh, Asma missed the very first step you did.
What's that?
She missed, Asma missed the very first step that you did on this design. What was the very first step?
The first step was I loaded a flat brush from my splits and whatever color I wanted to use. And I did like a zigzag around and did the arms and the legs. And then I filled in that center area in the light green. It was the lightest color on there. So. And now I'm just doing an outline. And I'm going to outline on the ears. Okay. And you know, you don't have to even add the ears. I mean, if I was in a hurry, it really depends on the event. If I'm at an event that's high volume, I'm going to simplify, because otherwise I'll never get them all done. So.
And you have a long line of screaming kids that want what they want now.
Well, you know what? Usually the kids are really patient. I have to say, I don't run into many problems.
Really?
The biggest problem this weekend, I was working for another artist, and we were trying to do one line, and somehow the line split, and we ended up with 2 lines, and both lines were pretty adamant. I mean, this is Chicago. They're not going to they're not going to back down unless someone makes them. So we had to bring in like a line manager. And it's the parents, really. The kids are usually great. It's usually the adults that are like, sorry, I didn't do a very good line here. It's usually the adults that are like, no,
cranky.
You know, yeah. They're
wow.
Let's use the word assertive. They're assertive. I could.
Gilbert loves this. He loves your design here.
And this is like multi. This could be girls. This could be boys. You could add texture. If you want to grab your stencil, you can add texture to it. So we're going to give him some eyebrows. This is a friendly monster. You could make him grumpy. You know, you could do like angry eyebrows. Like that. Make him a grumpy monster. But you're going to make him happy. And we're going to give him a wobbly smile. And you could give him teeth if you want to. You can add whatever, you know. Outline his nose. I usually put some spots on his nose.
Barbara said the word glitter. Not sure why.
Glitter, yes. I glittered everything I possibly can. But I do ask because some people don't like it. But I'd say 95% of the people say yes or more, you know. So.
Right.
And so I'm going to come down. There we go. And for eyes, I usually just make a circle for the center of the eye. And if you leave it open, then you don't have to have the difficulty of going back later and adding a highlight. But if you accidentally fill in too much of it, you can do that. So teeth are optional. We could give him teeth if we want him to be. And we could change his expression. Mine usually have happy expressions, but happy monsters.
You like happy monsters?
I like happy monsters.
Why not?
There we go. He's got teeth. Okay, so we're going to do some highlights super quick. Again, if I was in a big hurry, so much for highlights, I wouldn't add them. I wouldn't have time. But if I can, I do, because they do add to it. They make it look better.
Hi, Natalia.
So. Oh, I didn't finish my story. So when I was a kid, we didn't get a newspaper. So once a year, I had a relative, and he would save all the Charlie Brown daily strips, cut every one of them out, mount them on a piece of paper, and he sent them to us at the end, right before Christmas. And then he also saved every single Sunday comic section of the newspaper, and those were in there too. And we'd sit in a circle, and it'd start with the oldest would read and put it on his left, and then the next person would read them and put them on their left. And we went around the circle, and I was the last one because I was the youngest. So I got it last. And
there you go.
Ta-da!
Nice.
Actually, I put the highlights in the wrong spot on the hands, but you get the idea. That's simplified. You could actually make them a little bit.
Okay.
Add texture too.
Christy thinks that's very cute.
A little monster.
Okay, so we probably have time for one more, maybe two,
Okay.
in the next 15 minutes. So what are you thinking?
We're gonna do a robot.
Ooh.
Like so robot's good. It's a good design for boys. I've noticed. I really like Annalie Rivera's cyborg design, and I've used that a lot lately. It's huge. A lot of kids like that one, especially when I add a light to it, where they like the light. Anything that glows, extra parts. So, but we're gonna do a robot next, and the robot that I have a couple different options. I had a robot mask that looks kind of like this, and that's fun. It's just like the monster, only it's a mask. And then this was the one that I thought about. I could take the robot and open his mouth like Annabelle's designs. And so I thought you could do it this way too. So maybe we'll do it. We'll do the open mouth one because I just think that's fun. And it's a great way to make a design where you aren't.
Asma wants us to do videos on superheroes. Yeah, I think actually, isn't that what we're doing next?
I also have one stroke transformers. I had to do those for a party. I had to make a whole menu. Anyway.
Yeah.
Superheroes are always good. All right, so I'm going to use the little split that's blue. I like to think of it as TARDIS in honor of Doctor Who. But...
Cool. We're trying to get the calendar organized. We're doing superheroes designs Wednesday, Asma.
Here we go.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock Eastern.
So in order to make this one, we're going to I've loaded my brush with blues, like a range of blues, and I'm going to go right over the eyebrows. You'd really want to do this on a child that's got a pretty good forehead, because you're going to need some space. And then we're going to angle the brush a little bit and go down like that.
Ah, Kathy. Well, that didn't recognize your maiden name, I guess.
Go across right there. Harder to do. I think I might do that first. If I was doing this on someone, I'd probably do that part first. Go over. Here we go. And I'm going to come down. I'm going to flip my brush, come down on the sides. Or you could leave it. Actually, nah, sorry, I'll leave it this way. It's going to bleed. Making changes on the fly. Okay. So that's the top of the robot and the sides of his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
And next, we're going to do the rest of his jaw. On a child, you're going to hit the bridge of the nose. I know that, but oh well. In this case, it's just so easy because it's flat. I'm going to switch brushes to a 1/2 inch flat for the teeth.
Okay.
And I'm just going to load from the center of the brush, actually, not the center of the brush, center of the split. And we're going to do some teeth. I think I'll do one here. And then we'll do some on the bottom.
Oh, that's your middle name? Okay.
Sure, I'll keep it this way. This is going to hit the eyes. Well, let's pretend. It normally would slide that top on it, so we'll just pretend I didn't just paint her right in the eye. Close your eyes, kid. No, I wouldn't do that. Just close your eyes. Okay, pretend that it's below that.
That would be bad.
Yeah, it would be bad. Yeah, we really try. I was, you know, I ran into that this weekend, trying to get kids to close their eyes. Now I could load from yellow or orange, but I'm going to load from the split. That's, I don't remember what we called it for a working name. Flames, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
It's got yellow and orange on it. So I'm going to fill in the eye and I'm going to keep the darker color on top. And try not to wipe out my blue in the middle. Picked up a little blue. And then I'm going to load from the dark side, which is the red and black. And make the eyes. Here we go. He looks kind of grumpy already. Looks like a grumpy robot. So this is just, you know, just a fun, quick cartoon robot. I probably got the highlights all in the wrong spots, but the shape is there, the general shape. Generally, you want to keep the dark on the bottom where you're getting your shadows. So I'm going to make his eyebrows kind of heavy.
Okay.
Because I've made such happy cartoons up to this point. This one is not going to be happy. And I'm going to outline here. Robots have sharp angles. Oops, sorry. There we go. Top of his head. And I'm going to have to pick that up. I'm working with this elevated little, and it's a little hard on this angle. We're going to do outline his teeth. Till we run out. I'm using a number 2 again, but I mean, that's just me. Number 2 is my normal outlining brush. Here we go. Got the teeth.
You ever use a script liner?
Yeah, I do. I tend to use them for outlining for ninja masks because the thing with a script is that it holds a lot of ink. The bad thing is that people have trouble controlling it. And so because it's a really long bristle. So you can use it, but you just have to understand that, you know, if you need a lot of ink and you don't want to have to go back. I forgot to add the little things on the side, like a Frankenstein thing going on. There we go. Forgot those. I just used the split with black and gray in it. I'm just outlining. So yeah, if I were using that for outlining, it probably would hold a lot more ink and I wouldn't have to go back all the time. But for using a practice board, I usually stick with a shorter bristle because I have more control. So the little Frankenstein parts, which are optional. but this model comes with them. So did everybody have a busy weekend? Okay, let's do it. What was the weirdest design you got asked to do this weekend?
That's a good question.
They know. What the weirdest thing?
Barbara loves this design.
What's that?
Barbara loves this design.
Oh. Well, we owe it all to Annabelle because she has great ideas, and this really was, other than me painting in my practice child's eyes, it's a great thing to do. Just outlining. He's got kind of bad teeth. He needs a dentist, maybe an orthodontist. So, all right, finally, last
could be English.
Last one on this one, we're going to add highlights. And so the highlights are going to be on the top where there's light. So.
Kathy's got one that is a winner. She got asked to do a lawnmower.
Yeah, well, that's weird. Like, who asked for that? But still.
Somebody wanted a lawnmower.
I got asked to do a stick figure. Not this weekend, but I was like, a stick figure. Okay, this guy isn't going to look like he's really alive until we add highlights to his eyes. That makes him look kind of scary and alive. Like, it is alive.
Well, people always talk to me about the eyes and a cartoon character. How do you do that? Or what are your thoughts on the eyes in general?
Well, I tend to make circles like this. And more like teardrops, really, except for cats. Cats, I make them, I can do circular, and I'll make one bigger than the other because I think all cats have a little bit of insanity in them somewhere. So maybe not. I don't know. So.
We got a few other wild ones. So we got somebody, Marina got asked to paint spaghetti. That's okay. Yeah. And then someone got asked to do Nike shoes.
Yeah. Oh, that's just weird.
I still think the lawnmower wins that contest. I mean, that's just weird.
Lawnmower's weird. Well, we had a contest on the contest page on Facebook. I haven't done a contest for like a year. I've been busy. Anyway, but the weirdest one was a Patrick Swayze centaur in a tux. They won.
Wow. Weird. I think your camera just went off.
Oh, did it just die? Here we go.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
There we go.
It is. And when she moves her eyebrows, it's going to be like chomping. Yeah, I probably lost my battery. I'm going to have to get a backup battery. Let's see.
Well, actually, this is about the good time to stop because we were about 5 minutes from ending anyway.
Oh, okay. Anybody have any last minute questions? Move this out of the way.
A bag of Doritos. Okay, that's a good one.
I can angle this down to see the page more. Well, that's probably not going to work very well. Okay.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank everybody for watching. And this Wednesday, we're doing Kathy Alessandria, middle name, Vergara, last name, is going to be doing superheroes.
Ooh.
And then next week, I think, we're going to be doing another one. Oh, there you are. You're back.
It just warned me I was in low battery. I'm going to use this one because I like it better.
And next week on the 1st of October at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time, and you'll get emails on all this, we're going to be doing eye designs with Zuri. And she does great eye designs. So that is the plan. And Kathy says she loves the robot mask. So that was very successful.
Personally, I would go with this one. I'm more likely to pick a mask almost every time. But this is really cool. I just haven't done that style on kids very often. Mm-hmm. But, or you could do like the Margie Cantor nose thing. You know, there are a lot of options, or cheek art.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Beth.
Thanks, everybody.
And thanks for tuning in. And we will. What?
I hope it was helpful.
So. I hope it was too.
Cartoons are your friend. Remember that. They're your friend. They're fun. Kids
and for those that watch this much later, I hope you enjoyed it. Kathy, Barbara, they all say thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.